Let's see how many audiobooks I can listen to in a week. I'm kind of scared. So this video literally is happening because all of my Libby books that I've had on hold for a while are all coming to me at once. Like, I'm not even kidding. I got middle of the night, and then I got 4 books in one day. I literally just got on here. Another hold is ready. Another one. Ready to borrow. Like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I got moved up on a list. Like, I don't know what's happening, but I keep receiving books. You're on hold for, like, sometimes, like, for middle of the night. I was on hold for a literal year. I literally got middle of the night, On a Quiet Street, Blue Sisters, The God of the Woods, Spells for Forgetting, all 5 of those holds. And then today I just got Recursion, and Recursion I do have a physical copy of, but I have not read it yet because I've started it once. And I was like, maybe if I do like the audiobook, because the first couple of chapters I've just not been able to latch on to that plot. I thought it would be fun. I went ahead and went through and found like a few other audiobooks just so it's not all thrillers. I've already started Middle of the Night and I am 24% through, so we're gonna start with that, and then we're gonna see how many audiobooks that I can get through by Friday. Honestly, I think for Recursion, I'm like, maybe I should have it delivered later. Like, I don't even know what I want to read first. Okay, I think I'm gonna have that one delivered later because I just don't think I'm gonna have the time. I am gonna do this like a work week, not like a full 7 days. I don't see myself listening to an audiobook like on the weekend. Typically, I only listen to them for thrillers. Like, of course I've done like a romance, like a fantasy, whatever. I think I listened to, whenever I did like a reread of Crescent City, I listened to it because there was just no way that I could pick that up again. Those books are honkers. Like, no. The narrators for that were really good. That's what stumps me, is sometimes like, it's not my taste. Not that they're doing a bad job, but like, it's just not my taste. I don't know, hearing like cringe stuff said out loud is sometimes just so much harder to listen to versus like when you're reading it in your head, you can kind of like, you know, say it real fast and move on. I don't know. I also listen to them at about 1.5 speed typically, just because the narration is so slow. I'll give you an example.
Even get the first word out. The sound of the doorbell prevents me from saying the rest.
Like, that is so slow. I can't. Like, the dramatic pauses too, especially in thrillers. So 1.5 is like good for me. It's more of a normal talking pace.
Perfect timing. Someone's at the door, I say. But things are great here. That's why I called, to say you don't need to worry about me.
See what I mean? I don't know. I know a lot of people say that, like, when you speed it up, like, you're not really reading or retaining, but, like, I feel like depending on who's narrating, it doesn't make a difference. Like, they go from talking at a slower, more dramatic, like, movie-paced cadence to just, like, a normal conversation, maybe just escalated a little bit. But we shall see. I'm about to go back to work, about to put the headphones in, and I'm about to freaking grind it out. We'll see. I'm actually really enjoying Middle of the Night. Basically, our main character, it is now 30 years in the future, but whenever he was a younger boy, his neighbor and best friend was stolen right next to him, like while they were camping in the yard, and they had like a little sleepover in the yard, but somebody slashed through the tent and stole him, and nobody knows where or why he went. They just found his body. 30 years later, he moved back into his childhood home. It has me pretty like intrigued. It has not been slow. I think that's the thing with thrillers, like sometimes they're so drawn out. We have to make you guess like what's going on, and that's why like I prefer to listen to them instead of reading them, because like it keeps me hooked more. But we shall see. So far I'm really liking it. A lot of Riley Sager's books they're hit or miss with me, because I hate the way that there's always like, not always, but typically there's some kind of like magical element that just takes you out of it, instead of it being a person that you thought could have been the like whodunit, it's just like, oh, actually it was a ghost. And I'm like, feels like a cop-out sometimes. And I've read 2 of his books and they both ended up that way. So we shall see. This one seems more like a murder mystery. Now that I've gotten more into this, it is present and past timeline, but whenever you're in the past, like, you might not necessarily be our main character. So it'll go back and forth between the two. You'll be like his babysitter, you'll be his mom. You're getting to see everyone's point of view, including the boy who went missing, which I think is really interesting, but only in the past. And only leading up to him being taken. So I assume we are going to get a POV of like him being taken, or maybe the person who took him, they're thinking it's someone in the neighborhood, the police are, but our main character, he thinks that it is someone from this institute that was behind their house, like in the woods. This one's definitely gonna have like the whole like ghost aspect. We've got this ball that they use to communicate that keeps randomly showing up, and that's definitely our missing boy in ghost form, or someone messing with him, but they're making it really seem like it's gonna be Ghost because the little boy was obsessed with them. Ghost, like he literally had like a whole ghost identifier book. So that being said, the way that he's doing this, like me knowing it is going to be that in the beginning, makes it 10 times better than at the very end of the book, oh, it was a ghost the whole time. You see what I'm saying? I don't know, but it's going really well. I think I'm about halfway through. I'm 48% through this book. Our next chapter is a flashback. We don't know who it's going to be yet, but at the beginning of each one, it goes back to the day that Billy went missing. So I will probably listen to it on the way home as well, and then I'll be done for the day with this book, and I'll just start again tomorrow. Okay, it's been a second since I've chatted with you guys, but I am now 80% through. I will say that I am a little over like all of the POVs we get. Like every single person has a POV, even people that in present day we have not talked to them at all. It's just every single person has a POV, and it's kind of annoying. It's too much for me and it's getting kind of boring, but I'm almost done with it. If I was like just reading this, I would have already DNF'd this because I'm bored, but I'm 80% through now, so I'm kind of committed. So I'm gonna try to finish this today, and then we will begin our next book. Doing my debriefs out here is becoming a thing, and I'm kind of into it. I finished Middle of the Night, and I wanted to do a little chat about it. Unfortunately, I don't think it was worth the year I had to wait for it on Libby. Overall, the book was insanely slow. Not a lot to really keep you going, and I think it did have like a little too many POVs. I think giving us POVs for people that we didn't even meet in present day was a bit much. There was a good plot twist midway through the book that I was actually very surprised about, and I didn't even consider it being a thing. So to Riley for that, because it really did catch me off guard, and it was kind of emotional. The entire book, he thinks he's been haunted by Billy, his childhood best friend, and he is trying to remember because they were stolen, or he was stolen while they were camping in his backyard, and for his entire life until adulthood he's been having nightmares, and he developed insomnia, and he's been to therapy to try to uncover like what it was, if he saw something, what is this dream. It's always the same dream, and it always starts with him hearing the slashing of the tent. In the book, he does finally like recreate it for the first time, and he is able to remember what happened, but again, it's never exactly how you think. So I did not guess the ending. However, I got it half right. I got it half right. And if you don't want to know even what I guessed, skip ahead. Okay, so what I guessed is, I guessed that it was like an accident and that Billy was not actually haunting him. It was someone else. I just couldn't figure out who it would be, and I guessed that it was actually just an accident. And I thought Billy actually snuck out, and then he slipped and fell and hit his head, and that's why he had like the trauma, because they found him buried by the lake. And I just kind of thought that maybe he slipped and fell and it was actually an accident, and somebody just buried him to cover it up because they were scared that it would be their fault by like turning him in, whether that was someone he actually knew or a stranger. That was my theory, because this whole thing, like, this book is like really features grief, like super heavy, and there's a lot of talk about wanting things to be true that doesn't necessarily make them true. So I kind of thought he was going to switch it up from his normal books and take it that route. That is not what happened, but I was half right. Overall, I gave it a 2 stars. Here's why I gave it a 2 stars. Slow pace, too many POVs. I felt like he was trying to throw us off with a certain section of the book and trying to make us believe something so hard, to the point where half the book was talking about this one thing, and it had absolutely nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. And so all those POVs from those people about this place, it felt like a waste to me, because it was obviously there just to throw us off. And once you find out like what really happens, you realize we didn't focus on that person's POV at all. So that's just kind of annoying. And then I also felt like the payoff for like all the different routes that we explored of what we thought it could be, it didn't, like, what actually happened was not as exciting as some of those other routes that we took, if that makes sense. I need to decide what I'm going to pick next. I think I'm gonna take some time and go through and read like all the descriptions and kind of pick out what's gonna be the next listen. Okay, I tried reading this. This is the only clip I have from this, but I could not get into it. And I found the first few chapters to be very boring, and I did not like the narrator. Sorry, I did not record anything else. Hi there. I literally don't know what happened, but I am missing the clips where I started this book. And so I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it. I have read this. It's The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I wanted to try the audiobook, you know? I thought it would be fun. Experience it in a different way. It is an 18-hour audiobook, and it's literally due today. One day, and I'm 87% through. 18-hour book. Literally 18 hours. I have about like 2 hours left. I will talk more about it when I finish. I just wanted to put this in here and actually make sure that it saves, because I don't know what happened to my other clips. 87% through. I need to finish it today because it is literally due. Like it's due. It's due. I was literally running out of time, so I had to bump it up a notch on the speed. But we finished. Woohoo! This week, I literally listened to a part-time job's worth of audiobooks. Okay, so let's talk about The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. For starters, it being 18 hours, criminal. This was my second time reading The Wall of Winnipeg, or listening to, whatever. And it was just as good as the first time, honestly. And I think my favorite part about the book is that there is no third act breakup. There's not one. I genuinely think Mariana Zapata is the only author I've ever read where there's not really like a third act breakup or like a fight that they have, because even Elsie Silver, she doesn't do miscommunication to the max like a lot of other romance authors do, but she will have like a little miscommunication, and there'll be like a chapter where they're broken up or they're on the rocks or they just need time to themselves. That's like the biggest thing. There's always a chapter where they need time to themselves, and Mariana doesn't do that. This book, I swear to God, it was so refreshing after reading so many other romances books. Like, I forgot, and the buildup is so long, and you start off the book like not even really being his biggest fan, which is crazy. I'm gonna read you the synopsis for it. Vanessa knows she's doing the right thing. She shouldn't feel bad for quitting. Being an assistant housekeeper, fairy godmother to the top defensive in the National Football Organization was always supposed to be temporary. She has plans, and none of them include washing extra large underwear for longer than necessary. But Aiden Graves shows up at her door wanting her to come back. She's beyond shocked. For 2 years, the man known as the Wall of Winnipeg couldn't find it in him to tell her good morning or congratulate her on her birthday. Now he's asking for the unthinkable. What do you say to the man who's used to getting everything he wants? And you actually start off the book not even being his biggest fan and like understanding why she wants to leave and how she feels so underappreciated in this role that she's literally given her all. Like, homegirl washes his sheets and puts a little mint chocolate on there so he feels like he's at a hotel. She's always trying to joke with him. She's asking how his day is, and he's just like, and he fully realizes that he takes her for granted. The big trope in this book is marriage of convenience, and Aiden it's called the Wall of Winnipeg, so he's from Canada. He basically like doesn't want to be forced to sign his contract again with the team he's currently playing with. He wants to have the option to choose another team if he wants so. And so the marriage of convenience is so that he can have a green card, and they plan to stay married for 5 years. Vanessa really does not want to do this, obviously, because she feels so like, you took me for granted, you didn't appreciate me, you never once said thank you. Like, how hard is that? And the way that he gets her is Vanessa took out a lot of loans, like a huge amount of loans. Like, I want to say it was over $200,000 in student loan debt, and she had only paid down like 50-ish of it since college, and he promised that he would pay those for her if she did this, and she couldn't turn it down because she was like, I can either pay for this until I'm 60 or we can just get together, you know what I mean? I don't know, like, I forgot how much you dislike him in the beginning of the book. Genuinely, he's so rude, and like, he just doesn't comprehend that he's being rude. He's such a loner. He really doesn't have any friends, and even the friends that he does have, he's not the most gracious and welcoming with them. But of course, like, he has a reason for this. I love how Vanessa and him bond over their not so great childhoods. Vanessa's family, horrible. So bad. Like, I'm not gonna spoil like any of the stuff. Aiden also had like a more difficult childhood in the way that he lost a lot of people at a very young age, and he credits all his success to these people. But I can't give enough praise for this book and Mariana Zapata's writing in general. Every time I read one of her books, I'm in awe. Like, you make it so interesting for like 800 pages. Slow burns are so worth it because they know each other so well by the time that they're in love, and you know that they know each other to the fullest extent of their being, and I just think that that's so beautiful. But yeah, literally so cute. And we actually get 2 epilogues in this book, which is really unique. This is the only book I've ever read where you got 2 separate epilogues, and they were both really special, and I won't spoil them, but one of them is like way further in the future, and one of them's like closer to present day, where the entire book was set. I was only able to accomplish 2 audiobooks in this period because it was literally 29 hours for both books. That is a part-time job. 29 hours of listening. That is so insane. Like, I guess it's my fault. I picked like the largest books because on average they're between 8 and 10 hours, I was noticing, and I picked a Mariana Zapata book, which is 18 hours, and then Riley Sager, not to flip you off, Riley Sager's release from last year, Middle of the Night. It was 11 hours, and I was less interested in that one, so it obviously took me longer to get through that one. Toodles.